Good morning. There was a pilgrim staying over the final night of the holidays, so there was a private reading only, but not of Laches, so we can simply continue where we left off. Laches, day 7. Capital, Socrates. Upon my word, that is truly good. And I hope, Nicias, that you will tell us whether you really mean that those animals which we all admit to be courageous are in fact wiser than mankind, or whether you will have the boldness in the face of universal opinion to deny their courage. Why, Laches? I do not ascribe as courageous animals or any other creatures which have no fear of dangers because they are devoid of understanding, but only as fearless and senseless. Do you imagine that I should call all little children courageous, who fear no dangers because they have no understanding? There is a difference, to my way of thinking, between fearlessness and courage. That is very true. There is a difference between... Oh, I lost my space. Between fearlessness and courage. I am of opinion that thoughtful courage is a quality possessed by very few, but that rashness and boldness and fearlessness, which has no forethought, are very common qualities possessed by many men, many women, many children, many animals. Some call me courageous, I call me someone who rushes in where angels fear to tread. And you, and men in general, call by the term courageous actions which I call rash. My courageous actions are wise actions. Laches. Behold, Socrates, how admirably, as he thinks, he dresses himself out in words. I thought he was doing it admirably. Anyways, what do I know? Well, seeking to deprive of the honor of courage those whom all the world acknowledges to be courageous. Not you, Laches, so do not be alarmed. I am quite willing to say of you, and also of Lysimachus and of many other Athenians, that you are wise, being courageous. I could answer that, but I would not have you cast in my teeth that I am a haughty Exonian. Socrates. I imagine him giggling a bit. Do not answer him, Laches. I rather fancy that you are not aware of the source from which his wisdom is derived. He has got all this from my friend Damon, and Damon is always with Prodicus, who, as of all sophists, is considered to be the best at analyzing the meaning of words of this sort. So that third-person perspective, learning from others, or quoting others. Because, of course, you want to learn from others. But you don't only want to learn from others. Yes, Socrates, well, with others. You want to learn with others. I guess that's the second-person perspective. Yes, Socrates, and the examination of such niceties is a much more proper employment for a sophist than for a great statesman whom the city chooses to preside over her affairs. Yes, my sweet friend, Socrates says, but great affairs and great minds properly go together. Great affairs and great minds properly go together. And I think that Nicias deserves that we should see what he has in view when he so defines courage. With great power comes great responsibility. Laches. I will, if you think that I ought. Socrates. Yes, I do. But I must beg of you, Nicias. Beg of you, Nicias, so the other person, To begin again, you remember that we originally considered courage to be a part of virtue. Very true, Nicias says, Socrates. And you yourself said that it was a part, and there were many other parts, all of which taken together are called virtue. Certainly. Do you agree with me about the parts? For I say that justice, temperance, and the like are all of them parts of virtue, as well as courage. Would you not say the same? I wonder if this temperance is here, sophrosyn, because it is kind of confusing then, because they refer to you have to be sophrosyn, wise, in order to be courageous. But here they kind of make it just another one of all the virtues. So sometimes it's the overarching virtue, and sometimes it's just one of many. Nicias, certainly. Socrates, well then, so far as we are agreed, and now let us proceed. So far we are agreed, and now let us proceed a step, and try to arrive at a similar agreement about the fearful and the hopeful. I do not want you to be thinking one thing and us another. Let me then tell you our opinion, and if I am wrong, you shall set us right. In our opinion, the terrible and the hopeful are the things which do and do not create fear. And fear is not of the present nor of the past, but is of the future and expected evil. Do you not agree to that, Laches? Yes, Socrates, entirely. That is our view, Nicias. The terrible things, as I should say, are the evils which are future, and the hopeful are the good or not evil things which are future. Oh, that's so depressing. They're hopeful for not evil things. Never mind good, as long as it's not evil. Low standards. Do you or do you not agree with me? I agree. Socrates, and the knowledge of these things you call courage? Precisely. That's a jump that I don't see, and I see many jumps. And now let me see whether you agree with Laches and myself as to a third point. What is that? Action in spite of hope or fear, that could be courage. But simply hoping or fearing, where's the courage in that? Oh yeah, there's a lot of courage in hoping. Hoping beyond all hope, which could also just be foolishness. I will tell you, Socrates says. E and I have a notion that there is not one knowledge or science of the past, another of the present, a third of what may and will be best in the future, but that of all three there is one science only. For example, there is one science of medicine which is concerned with the superintendence of health equally in all times, present, past, and future, and one science of husbandry in like manner which is concerned with the reproduction of the earth in all times. As to the military art, you yourselves will be my witnesses that it makes excellent provision for the future as well as the present, and that the general claims to be the master and not the servant of the soothsayer, because he knows better what is happening or is likely to happen in war. And according the law places the soothsayer under the general, and not the general under the soothsayer. Am I not correct in saying so, Laches? Quite correct. And do you, Nicias, also acknowledge that the same science has understanding of the same things, whether future, present, or past? Yes, indeed, Socrates, that is my opinion. And courage, my friend, is, as you say, a knowledge of the fearful and of the hopeful. Yes. How can courage... Okay, never mind. And the fearful and the hopeful are admitted to be future goods and future evils. True. And the same science has to do with the same things in the future or at any time. That is true. then courage is a science which is concerned not only with the fearful and hopeful, for they are future only. Courage, like the other sciences, is concerned not only with good and evil of the future, but of the present and the past, and of any time. That, as I suppose, is true. Okay, but I can see how hope and fear springs from the past and the present. Because you don't fear things that you haven't. If there's no reason from the past or the present to expect unwelcome results. Maybe. Then the answer which you have given, Nikias, includes only a third part of courage, but our question extended to the whole nature of courage. And according to your view, that is, according to your present view, courage is not only the knowledge of the hopeful and the fearful, but seems to include nearly every good and evil without reference to time. So, courage is knowledge of good and evil. That's me saying that, I'm not reading that. What do you say to that alteration in your statement? I agree, Socrates. Do you have any clue what you're agreeing to, Nikias? I'm asking. Socrates. But then, my dear friend, because I don't really have a clue what he's agreeing to. If a man knew all good and evil, and how they are and have been and will be produced, would he not be perfect and wanting in no virtue? And never mind hope and fear. If you know everything, why would you need hope or fear? Why would you hope or fear? You will know. Whether justice or temperance or holiness. Oh, what is holiness? In Greek, I mean. Not what is holiness? In general. He alone would be competent to distinguish between what is to be feared and what is not, whether it be supernatural or natural, and would take the proper precaution to secure that all shall be well, for he would know how to deal aright, both with gods and with men. I think, Socrates, that there is a great deal of truth in what you say. But then, Nikias, courage, according to this new definition of yours, instead of being only a part of virtue, will be all virtue. It seems so. It is funny, though, like when you practice dialectic into dialogos, it always seems as if you come to the conclusion that this is the ultimate virtue. The virtue that connects all virtues, the virtue that binds all virtues. Whatever the virtue is that you choose, which maybe says something about virtue. But we were saying that courage is one of the parts of virtue. Yes, that was what we were saying. And that is in contradiction with our present view. That appears to be the case. Welcome to the club. Then, Nikias, we have not discovered what courage is. It seems not. And yet, my friend Nikias, I imagine that you would have made the discovery. Laches speaks. When you were so contemptuous of the answers which I made to Socrates, I had very great hopes that you would have been led to it by the wisdom of Daemon. So I imagine they're taking a piss at the guy for relying on the sophist. Nikias, I perceive, Laches, that you think nothing of having displayed your ignorance of the nature of courage, but you look only to see whether I have not made similar display. And if we are both equally ignorant of the things which a man with any self-respect should know, that, I suppose, will be of no consequence. You certainly appear to me very like the rest of the world, looking at your neighbor and not at yourself. I am of the opinion that enough has been said on the subject, which, if you don't say this with a tongue in the cheek, it's pretty rude, but I hear it with a tongue in the cheek. I am of opinion that enough has been said on the subject which we have been discussing, and if the treatment has been in any way inadequate, that may be hereafter corrected with the help of Daemon. whom you think to laugh down, although you have never seen him, and of others. And when I am satisfied myself, I will freely impart my satisfaction to you, for I think that you are very much in want of knowledge. We all are. Nikias, we all are in want of knowledge. I wanted to say something, but I forgot. Oh well. Such is life. Have a good one.